Hello and welcome to episode 19 of The Final Whistle. I'm your host, Drew Ziegler. I'm here with James Gougosis, and today we will talk all about the NHL playoffs, NBA playoffs, and some of the NFL. So we got the NHL, we're in playoff season, and as we're recording this on Wednesday, April 26th, series are in the middle, and some, they're not over yet, but some are getting there. First up, we got a tri-state matchup between two rivals. Your New York Rangers are tied with the Devils at 2 games apiece.
Yeah, Rangers took the first two, Devils took the next two. My confidence level has fallen off ever since the first 2 games. I'm not going to pick against the Rangers. I think they'll win in 7 games, but it's going to be very tough for them.
It's very interesting. Both teams won both of their games on the road. Devils, we know, were a great road team in the regular season, but this is surprising from the Rangers, especially playing in Madison Square Garden. And now, this series, it seems like the Islanders are always getting outplayed, but they've come away with 2 games, and the Hurricanes are stuck at 3 after a great win they just had, the Islanders.
Yeah, this could get really interesting now coming back to Long Island, only down 3 games to 2, possibly tie it. I think it'll get really interesting. I still think the Hurricanes are going to. I think they're going to win the 6th game. I think they've just been a much better team. I don't think the Islanders are going to be able to have a chance.
Yeah, Islanders, their brand of game is just getting a goal and then playing defense. They have a great goalie, obviously, in Ilya Sorokin, and that's how they've won both of their games. And now a tilted matchup, Boston up 3-1 on Florida. Surprising to see Florida even coming away with a game, but what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think they've been getting destroyed as much as I expected. They're in games, they just can't pull them out, but I think the Bruins are going to win this series probably. I think they're going to win the 5th game. They're just a better team overall, and it's really showing on the ice.
Yeah, Bruins still with a few injuries also, so they're not even fully healthy, and they're still the best team. And this has been a great series, I think, despite it being 3-1. Toronto up 3-1 on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Just some great comeback games and a lot of scoring.
Yeah, that game 4 where they came back down 4-1. I think that's the best game of the playoffs so far. I can't believe the Maple Leafs finally going to win the first round matchup, first time in almost 20 years. So, yeah, they're going to. I think I got them in 6. I think the Lightning are going to win the 5th game, but Maple Leafs, I can't believe it, to be honest.
I wouldn't put it past the Maple Leafs to blow this 3-1 lead, as their history in first-round matchups is just horrible, especially recently. But there's a lot of scoring. Both teams each had 7 goals in one of the games, and I think the Maple Leafs will actually win this series, though. And now the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. I think the Golden Knights are just flat out a better team, and that's why they're up 3-1 in this series.
Yeah, their talent level is off the charts. I think they're one of them and the Oilers are the only real contenders, I feel like, in the West this year. And they've really shown against the Jets. The Jets made the playoffs, which was pretty good accomplishment for themselves. But I think the Golden Knights, they've been the better team this series, and they're going to win the series.
Jets also with a few injuries. Mark Scheifele, he did get hurt in one of the games and he didn't return. That's obviously a big blow as one of their top players. And the Golden Knights, they just got Mark Stone back for the playoffs after he missed a big chunk of the season, so that was obviously a bit big for them. And now a surprising tied series, Colorado and Seattle. I think it's really cool to see Seattle tied 2-2, especially with that home crowd. They're actually into the game, and they're not fake fans.
Yeah, with Cale Makar out Game 5, I got the Kraken. After that interference penalty and then the suspension. This is anybody's series, and I think the Kraken are going to win Game 5, and I think they're going to win in 7. And if you told me this before the series, I'd be very shocked. I thought the Avalanche were going to dominate the series, but this is one of the bigger surprises of these playoffs.
Yeah, I think this is a great series, and I think it's going to go to 7 games. We'll see who comes out on top. And this is always a good season series. They played each other in the playoffs recently, Edmonton and LA. Edmonton up 3-2 right now, and there have been some great games and a lot of scoring, obviously, since it's the Oilers. Leon Draisaitl has been on the ice for every goal scored for the Oilers so far.
Yeah, that's an insane stat. The Oilers are just all offense. I picked them to win the Cup Finals. I just had that feeling this year. So I think the Oilers are going to win the series in 6, but I mean, it got a little dicey after the Kings won Game 3, but I think the Oilers, settled down. I think their defense improved a little. I mean, they don't have to have that much defense to win games with McDavid and Draisaitl, but I think the Oilers, they're playing good enough defense that they can win the series, and I think they'll win in 6.
I think this will go to 7 games, but I also do think the Oilers will win it. And Dallas and Minnesota, there's been a bunch of blowouts in this series. Dallas up 3-2 right now, and I think they'll pull away.
I agree with you. I think the Wild will win Game 6, but I think the Stars, I feel like they've been the better team this series, and I think they'll win it in 7 in front of their home crowd.
Yeah, Tyler Seguin's been playing great for them. He wasn't so great in the middle of the season, but now he's even playing better than their young star, Jason Robertson, and I think they'll come out on top in 6, like I said. So now we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we'll be getting into the NBA playoffs. So now Steven has joined me, and we're going to get into the NBA playoffs, the first-round matchups. This was an easy series. Philadelphia sweeps Brooklyn 4-0. Wasn't it close at all?
No, I think that the Nets didn't have a superstar, like a playoff superstar, like they used to have KD and Kyrie. But, I mean, they do have young talent, which is good for them, their future. At least their future isn't going to go, like, to the bottom like everybody thought it was once they got rid of the 2 superstars. But I think they're so good. I mean, Philly, I expect them to win the first round, but I don't know about the second round because I think they're going to play the Celtics because I think the Celtics won the series or no?
No, not yet.
Not yet, but I think the Celtics are going to win the series. And then they're just going to, like, demolish 76ers. I feel like I can't see Philly making it past the second round of the playoffs. Yeah,
Joel Embiid a little banged up. I did think the Nets were going to steal a few games, but they obviously didn't, and I think they'll be back in the playoffs next year, though. And now a surprising series, Jimmy Butler just taking over, Miami up 3-1 on the Milwaukee Bucks.
I mean, this is awesome. If you're a Knicks fan, you're like, this is awesome because you don't want to see the Bucks next round. You want to see the Heat. I think the Heat are playing awesome, man. I mean, they're obviously in the play-in tournament, and everybody was like, oh, this team, there's no way. The 7-8, they're play-ins, but, like, it's playoff basketball. Like, some players are born to play this, and then Jimmy Butler is born to play this. We've seen it in the past couple of years, and I mean the Bucks not having having Giannis is really hurting them because like they don't have like that one player that's stepping up like they used to have in the previous years. That's why they're so good in the playoffs. But I think the Heat they're just waking up right now.
Giannis has played in the last few games, but he's still obviously hurt, and he isn't playing as well as he usually is in these playoffs. And Jimmy Butler doing the exact opposite, scoring almost 60 points in Game 4. And Boston up 3-2 on Atlanta. Trae Young just hit a deep 3 to win the game, and that was just amazing shot in Boston also. Now they're going back to Atlanta, and maybe they'll steal a game there and go to Game 7.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think they're just too good. Like, if you don't really see like a flaw when they play, like it's really just like competitiveness all game. Like, they don't really mess up here and there. They're just too good of a team. I think Jason Tatum's gonna take over and he's gonna like lead the whole entire game with points because I think he's about to have one of his best performances in the playoffs. And I just don't like Atlanta at all. Like, they're just like a bunch of like scrappy players. I don't like the way they play, and I hope they lose pretty much.
Atlanta will be back with their second star, DeJounte Murray, after being suspended for Game 5, and we'll see how much of a big impact that has in Game 6. And now to the Knicks, up 3-1 on the Cavs. We're all happy about this, and hopefully they'll win it in 5.
I mean, the King of New York, Jalen Brunson, has been literally the best player in the series by far. It's not even a question, no matter what. Even if they come back to make it a Game 7, I still think Jalen Brunson will be the best player in the series. I think the Knicks' key thing is their defense. Their defense has been, like, phenomenal. I mean, Coach Tibbs also made a good decision in keeping Julius Randle out of that one game. And I thought it was awesome. I'm like, I don't want to see Julius put up missing all these shots. I mean, all he does is take step-back threes and miss. At least, like, we have now RJ waking up. You know, RJ does a little bit of everything, shoots, dunks, drives. Same thing with Brunson. Like, when he dunked it, I didn't even know he can dunk. It's a little short, dude. I'm like, there's no way. And he dunked it. But I also got to give credits to, like, the crowd at Madison Square Garden. I mean, that's the major reason. You, like, welcome in this young playoff team. Both 2 young playoff teams. But obviously the Cavs have all the pressure because, like, they're, like, fans are screaming at them all this. Knicks are, like, used to this. And it was just great to see the Knicks up 3-1. Hopefully they can take it tonight.
Yeah, you said the defense. Donovan Mitchell held to about, I think, 11 points in Game 4, and that's obviously why the Knicks won. And Jalen Brunson might just be the best signing in New York Knicks basketball history, I think. And this was also a good series, an easy one for the Nuggets. They win in 5 games against the 8 seed Minnesota Timberwolves.
I remember seeing that tweet Anthony Edwards said, "Ain't over yet." I mean, he kept his word. He got the game in Game 4, but Game 5, just didn't go to plan. I mean,
he had a shot to win it, but he missed.
I mean, hey, but the Nuggets though, they're like the Sixers in my opinion, just on the West. Like, I don't know if you can see them past the second round. Like, obviously they're an amazing team, but like history shows it. Like, they just can't do it. I just don't have trust in the Nuggets.
Yeah, big time regular season team, and I also agree with you. I don't really see them. Maybe they'll win the second round, but I don't see them winning the conference championship. And now, some people might have predicted this, but it's still a 7-2 upset. Memphis only win 1 game, and the Lakers have 3 games, and they can close it out.
The Grizzlies are just a bunch of clowns, fun ass. Like, I can't watch a Grizzlies game and not want to turn it off. Like, watching Brooks play is like, I don't know, I'd rather watch paint dry. Like, this guy, I just can't watch this guy. Like, he's just so he doesn't play basketball like how you should be playing basketball. He plays all dirty and I just don't like that. I'm just like, it's just nice to see John Morant at least on his team. Like, John Morant's puts on a show for everybody, and Brooks just does all this dirty stuff for no reason. I mean, you're in the playoffs. Like, why you want to get a game suspension or get ejected? It makes no sense. Like, you want to go out there and win. But here we are now. He was talking all that smack about LeBron, and now they're down 3-1. So he better put his big boy pants up,
Dylan Brooks said he's not a villain despite him creating that image for himself and not respecting LeBron James, the best basketball player arguably of all time. Dylan Brooks doesn't really know what he's talking about. But now a good series also. Sacramento tied with Golden State 2-2. And De'Aaron Fox a little banged up, but it looks like he's ready to go with that broken finger.
I mean, he's literally the make or break of this series. Like, if he's going to play, I got the Kings. But if he doesn't play, I got the Warriors. I mean, it's tough to beat the Warriors at home, because they're just that team that playoff time, they won't lose at home. But they have been really bad on the road this year. So I think if the Kings can manage to get to Game 7, they'll win it because the Warriors are on the road.
Yeah, I think the Kings could pull this one out, but they're going against the Warriors. Just obviously bunch of playoff experience, and honestly, I do think the Warriors will pull out this series. And now a series end in 5 games. Phoenix 4-1 over the Clippers. Devin Booker just with 2 40-plus point games, and he took over the series.
I'm going to agree with Stephen A. Smith when he said that Kawhi Leonard is the greatest but worst basketball player of all time. Because, I mean, the man's amazing basketball player, but, he's just sitting. He might be a little banged up, but, you play. This is when you play. You're a little banged up in the regular season. All right, you can sit a game or two, But, this is playoff time. This is, why they pay you the money to come play. It's because they want to see you play. But honestly, it's just I feel like it's just embarrassing that he doesn't play. Obviously, you don't have Paul George because he's hurt, but Kawhi Leonard was their only hope, and he sat out. I think it's just embarrassing.
I think way too many players are sitting out due to injuries. This is the playoffs. You lose, you go home, and you got to wait till next season. And I just think that's not the way to do it. You should put your all out. You're getting paid a lot of money to play, and you should play in the playoffs and give the fans a show. So that's going to do it for us in the NBA. And when we come back, John and James will join me back to talk about the NFL. Welcome back. Now John and James have joined me, and we're going to get into some NFL. As we're recording this on Wednesday, we got draft night tomorrow night. We're all excited for it. Are there anything surprising that you think might happen tomorrow night?
Yeah, I wasn't here for the mock draft episode, so I think C.J. Stroud is the best quarterback in this draft. I would take him first, but now it doesn't really look like that. But I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I think he played the best in college, and he has the best NFL talent potential. And I think the most underrated prospect would be Joey Porter Jr. I think he's the top 2 cornerback in the draft. I don't think people are really giving him the respect he deserves. I think he'll be a top 15 pick, and I think whoever gets him will get a really good player.
Yeah, I think that C.J. Stroud is actually going to fall a lot further than people think. And I also think that Will Levis is going to get picked a lot earlier than people are going to like. I think he might be a top maybe 3 pick because teams really do like him. And as an underrated player, I got to go with B.J. Ojulari, Azeez Ojulari's brother on the Giants. His younger brother goes to LSU. Yeah. He's a great pass rusher. I think he'll probably be drafted in the 2nd to 3rd round, more of a day 2 guy. But he really could go in the late 1st just from that pass rushing ability he brings.
Yeah, you said Porter out of Penn State. There's a top 4 cornerback range, and then there's a little bit of a drop off. And those two top ones, though, I think, are Christian Gonzalez and Devon Witherspoon. I think those guys will picked first. We don't really know what the order of it will be. And is there anything else that you guys think, or nothing much?
No.
You guys said C.J. Stroud and Will Levis. I'm not sure where this even comes from. It's not like they're playing games. I don't know how their stock changes. Happens every year, and I guess we'll just see what happens. Apparently, Will Levis is telling people he's getting picked by the Panthers. I don't know if that's true. The odds are changing, and I don't even know how this happens. And obviously there was a big trade. New York Jets fans can finally rejoice. They finally got Aaron Rodgers, and we'll see how they play with him. They're obviously now a Super Bowl contender. They got Aaron Rodgers, the number 15 pick in this year's draft, and they gave up a 5th-round pick, conditional 2nd-round pick that could turn into a 1st-round pick, and the 13th pick.
That's a lot, man, for a guy that's only coming in there for maybe 1 year. I mean, that's a lot to give up, but they're clearly in win-now mode. This is a win-now move. I think that they can definitely win some games, but didn't this happen not too long ago, maybe 15 years ago? Brett Favre, they had a great defense, and then they traded for Brett Favre. He was their savior, and then what did they do? Everyone says, Brett Favre is washed now. Brett Favre then goes to the Vikings and almost wins the Super Bowl with them. The Jets, it's a quarterback graveyard, man. Aaron Rodgers can play 5 games there, and he can already be top 5 all time for the Jets. I mean, it's just their best quarterback of all time is probably Ryan Fitzpatrick. Joe Namath, but that season with the Super Bowl. But ever since after that, he was trash. So the Jets have never really had a good quarterback. So maybe this can be their first, or we'll just continue on with the streak.
Yeah, even assuming Rodgers plays for 2 seasons, I think Ryan Douglas got a little desperate. Joe Douglas. Sorry. I think he knew he had to overpay, but I think this was a little too much. Possible 2 first-round picks for Rodgers. I think that's a little much if you ask me, but I think they had to get it done. I couldn't imagine them going with Zach Wilson for another year. You just can't do that. But Rodgers. This is gonna be tough for the Jets. Obviously, if he plays well, the Jets will be really good. But this is high risk, high reward for them.
Aaron Rodgers will be a Jet for a year, if that. We know how he acts. He might just leave the team and go to a darkness retreat halfway through the season. The Jets still might even be they're top 3 in their division now, but they also might be the 3rd team in their division still, and that's obviously a good division now. Who do you think's the best out of those 3 teams, the Jets, Dolphins, and Bills?
I think it's still the Bills. I think they still got the best roster. I think the Dolphins improved a lot, but I think the Bills are a little bit better than the Dolphins, and I think it's the Jets after them.
Well, how are we asking this question? Are we talking on paper, or are we talking what's actually going to happen?
It's actually going to happen.
The Bills. The Jets, on paper, they look great right now. They look like a team that can go and win the Super Bowl, but it's just not going to happen. The Bills are the better team, and I'm taking the Bills 100 times out of 100 versus the Jets.
And I think the Jets will have problems. I can guarantee you that. And let's see if they even make it over 500. I wouldn't put it past them to not even make the playoffs this year. And, yeah, I just don't think this trade is going to make them Super Bowl team. And Aaron Rodgers, he's almost 40 years old now, and he's not the same player he was, obviously, but he still has that MVP in him, so we'll see what happens. And that's going to do it for us, and we'll see you next week for episode 20 of The Final Whistle.